Welcome for the today's session of organization development. Today we will be continuing with the remaining portion of the course policy of the organization development. Hope all of you are feeling fine and safe. Dear students, if you do remember, before to go into the today class or today's session, let me just go for a small overview of the previous class. In our previous class, we discussed some things about the forces of the change or for the change or factors which are affecting for the change of the organizations, right? So we discussed some of the factors like economical factors or forces, government forces, demographical forces, cultural and social forces, and etc. Today we are here to discuss some things about the models and theories of the planned change. So toward the change of the organizations, or in order to change the organization toward the development, or in order to improve the organizations from A to Z, so we do require to know some of the theories, some of the models. The science has been suggested some of the theories and models toward the planned change of the organization development. So let's discuss these theories and models. The first theory and models of the plant change is being suggested by Kurt Lewin, who is the scientist. The Kurt Lewin is also known as the father of OD, or organization development. He has done lots of research. He has investigated lots of things about the organization development, or he has done some of the researches that how an organization can develop itself with the passage of time. And under this approach, or under this theory, the Kurt Lewin has suggested some of the knowledge and some of the theories that how an organization can develop itself with the passage of time. So let's discuss. Excuse me. The Kurt Lewin, during the 1898 to 1947, who is also called as the father of OD, recognized as the founding father of the OD, as I said, although he died before the concept became current in the mid 1950. So he has expired before that. The concept of the the OD, or organization development, is going to be very useful in the current situations during the 1950. As I said, that organization development is still not that much old concepts. Still, each and every organizations are working on that, and they are going to improve the situation of the organization respectively. So this scientist has suggested some things. Let's find it out what he has investigated, or what he has suggested. He gave the idea of group dynamics and actions research, which uh, underpin the basis of the OD organization developments. He believed that group dynamics on group work or actions research, based on these two things, he has suggested the basic process of the organization development. Levin founded that the Research Center for the Group Dynamics, which is also known as RCGD, at MIT, and which moved to uh, Michigan after his death. He has founded a research centers where lots of people were working and investigating over there. So once he expired, that research center has been shifted or moved to the Michigan. Presently that research center is also available over there. In that research centers, two things are going to be investigated: group dynamics and as well as the action research. These two things are basically done for the purpose of organization development process. The RCGD colleagues were among those who founded the National Training Laboratories. Then, after with the passage of time, the people who were working, or the colleagues who were working with the Kurt Lewin, they have founded another research centers or another national training laboratory, from which the T group, a group of people learning about human behavior by interacting with each other, and group-based OD emerged. So they, with the passage of time, they got into the another centers or another laboratories, that where they were people where they were investigating about the behavior of the people, behavior of the employees within the business organization, as we do have the organizational behavior. Today behavior is also more considerable during the business organization. And then they merged this with the OD, because organization developments also could be concerned with the behavior of the employees within the organization. And Levins experimented with a collaborative change process involving himself as a consultant and a client group. This was based on the three steps process of the planning, taking actions, and measuring results. So, with the passage of time, he has examined that the collaborative change process. He has determined that what are the steps to be involved in the change process. So he has suggested three things. The three things are being suggested by the Levins for the purpose of change process. One is the planning, taking actions, and measuring results. So let's discuss one by one. Yeah, under that, this was the forerunner of the action research, an important element of UDI. This what he has suggested under the collaborative change process, and he has examined it, is the forerunner of the action research. It is one of the work of the action research. It is one of the struggle, or one of the achievement of the action research, of the which is the one of the element of organization development. If one idea can be said to summarize UD's underlying philosophy, it would be action research, as it was conceptualized by Kurt Lewin and later elaborated by the expanded on by other behavioral scientists. So he believes that if there are some things, there are some philosophy, or we could say that in summarized form, whatever is going to explain the UD, that is the work of the action research. Whatever we are going to learn today is that based on the action research done by the Kurt Lewins of the organization development. And with the passage of time, it has been expanded, it has been investigated by other colleagues also, and they have maintained behavior, or they have included behavioral also in the organization development. So the Levins has different models. So let's discuss the models of the Levins one by one. Levins general model of change. Levins suggested the general model of change. Let's find it out what we mean by the general model of change. Levins descriptions of the process of change involve three steps. Under the general model of change, which has been suggested by the Kurt Levins, is involve three steps. The first one is unfreezing, the second one is changing, and the third one is refreezing. If you do remember, we had a small discussion during our regular classes also about this one. So these three steps are given by the Levins, related to has general model of change. Once we talk about the unfreezing, it means that faced with the dilemma or disconformations, the individual or group becomes aware of the a need to change. Basically, in each and every business organization, there would be a need to change. Each and every organizations or group of the people who are working within the business organizations are trying and struggling, or they do need that the environment to be changed. This is the first steps toward the general model of the change. And the second one is changing. The second steps, once there is the need of change within the organization, the change must be happen. The situation is the diagnose and the new model of the behavior are explored and tested. With these steps, they are inherently get into the change environment and trying to implement the change. Rephrasing, application of the new behavior is evaluated, and if reinforcing and adapting. So they are trying to apply that one and finding out some of the applications, some of the methodology to implement this needed change within the organizations. This was the general model of the change given by the Kurt Lewin, which has three steps. The first one is unfreezing. This means that there is that need of individual and group to be changed. And the second one is that this situation is the diagnosis. It means that the new behavior will be explored and tested and trying to get into the change environment, and the last one is that they are designing and they are finding out the methods to to implement the change. The another theory or model of the change is given by the Levins, is that Levins model of action research process. Action research process is, as we say, that it is one of the center which is now in Michigan. So that, based on that, he has suggested some things about the organizational development. Concerned with the social change, and more particularly with the effective permanent social change, Levins believed that the motivations to change was strongly related to action. Students, he believes that in order to permanently change the society or the environment of the work within the business organizations or social change, he is, under this model of the research, he is suggesting, or he is focusing on the social change, that the society must be changed. The people who are living within the society must be changed, must be updated with the progression of the recent changes toward the life of people within the world. All right. So he believes that motivation is one of the very important aspects for the purpose of changing the society or community. So under this action research process models, he suggests motivation, that motivation could be one of the important things for the purpose of changing the society or bring huge changes or major changes in the society. If people or action active in decisions affecting them, they are more likely to adapt in new ways. Exactly, to students, once the people who are living within the society are taking some of the decision that the society to be changed, so this is going to be one of the important things. The people must be active in decisions. They should not be like lazy or sleepy and don't bother. They must bother. This is what the Levins believe it. So motivations could be considerable. And rational social management. All right, this is also one of the subjects, so one of the research things done by the Levins or Port Levins. He says that proceed in a spiral of steps, each of which is composed of an article of planning, actions, and facts finding about the result of actions. It means that he believes that if there is proceed, or if there is progress, or if there is increase in each and every steps at each and every corner of the society, obviously it would be given some of the positive results. Assume that if the society of the Kabul is going to take decision, or active in decisions toward the change in the society, obviously the other corner of the or the other cities of the Afghanistan would be also moving, and the result would be finding out with the help of this taking active decision. Action research is despite it as a cyclical process of the change. It shows that the consequences of the or process of the change given by this model of the research of the organization development. The cycle begins with the series of planned actions initiated by the client and the change agent working together. It basically, the action research model, theory suggested by the Court Levin has some consequences, some steps, some hierarchy to be maintained. Everything is not going to be changed at the moment or at the time. There is consequences, there is steps to be taken. In the language of the system theory, this is the input pause or pace in which the client system becomes aware of the problem as it unidentify, realize it may need outside help to affect change, and share with the consultant the process of the problem diagnosis. It's, if you do remember, in our previous class we discussed some things about the systems. Basically it needs systems, it needs proper consequences, it needs proper steps to be maintained for the purpose of bringing changes at the social at the society level. Overlook here is we see as we discuss also, everything needs input. There inputs should be processed, and then we will be getting some of the output or results. So under the input, planning is needed, preliminary diagnosis, data gatherings, feedback of the result, actions planning, and then after in the transformations or processing, learning process, action planning, and action steps. And at the end we do have the the changes is results, what has been done. So if you go for the this one, for the three steps as given by the Court Levins, we can find it out that the first thing is unfreezing, is mean that it is our input, and then that is called as changing, is mean process to be done. As I said that they are going to get into the change situations, and the final would be rephrasing or our output. So the second stage of the action research, is the action or transformations, as we do see here. The second one is transformation or processing. So as the figure shows, so for this purpose we do require the things to be processed, to the actions to be taken, planning should be considered, and action steps to be maintained for the purpose of having result of the particular things. Yeah, so with this respect, so we are here to talk about the another theory of the or another model of the organizational change that has been given by the Bork Latwin. He is also scientist. He has also developed some of the theories. Let's find it out. What is Bork Latwin model of organizational change? Developed by the Werner Bork and George Latwin. The model shows how to create first order and second order change with the other called transactional and transformational change. He believes that there is order to be needed, the first order and the second order of change, and then there is the need of to calls upon the transactional and transformational change. But the change is not going to be happen at the moment or at the same time. There is requirement of step by steps or order by order, and with the help of transactional and then go for the transformational change is possible. This is what under this theory the Bork and George Latwin suggested. In the first order change, some features of the organizational change, but the fundamentals nature of the organization remain the same. The first orders is based on the order wise we are going to change the society or the environment. The first orders determine that the basic things to be to be done toward the change, the fundamentals things to be, or the fundamentals steps or actions to be taken, but the remaining part of the organization would be as the same. With the passage of time that could be also changed, but as of now the first order is that the first order for the change is that the features of the organization change. The features, the basic features of the organization are going to be changed, but the fundamental nature of the organization remains the same. The pillar of the organization would be the same, because if an organization wants to develop itself, it requires more than 10 years, 5 years respectively. So basically the first orders under this theory suggested that the features of the organization is going to be changed, but the fundamental nature of the organization remain the same. The first order change goes by many different levels. Again, under the first order of the change, there is some levels. The first thing is that transactional, evolutionary, adaptive, incremental, or continuous change. So it's mean that under the first order of the change, we do have around five labels. The first label is transactional. The second thing is evolutionary, and the third thing is adaptive, and the fourth thing is incremental or continuous change. Different transactional changes in some things which depends on the situations, how we are going to deal with the situations. That is change. The second thing is evolutionary change, that when the people are going to be active toward the change, the society is coming together and they are trying to change the environment. Or within the business organizations there is like labor unity, labors are coming together and asking and trying for the changes. And adaptive means that with the help of other things we are going to be changed, like there is technology changes or enhancements, so that technology enhancements also lead the other things to be changed. And the last thing is that incremental or continuous change, some things which is not constant and continuously with the passage of time, that is going to be changed. But in the second order of change, under the theory of Bork Latwin, Burke and George Letwin. Under this order of change, the nature of the organization is fundamentally and substantially altered. So under this one, yeah. So under this one, so under the second order of the change, the nature of the organization is fundamentally and substantially altered. For example, the organization is transformed. Under that, the features as well as the fundamentals and substantially or sub part of the organization is going to be transferred toward the change. The second order of change goes by many different levels. Under that, we do have transformational, revolutionary, radical, or discontinuous change. This is the four things and which are coming under the second order of the change given by the George Latwin as well as the Bork. So, hope you are clear with the first order of change and the second order of the change. The first order of the change is consisted of four labels, and the second order of the change is also consisted of